Good day, everyone. I'm Kael, waiting for the tour guide. We are here in Ottawa.
City will be about 2 hours today. We'll be sure to see Parliament, some tulips, and a few other highlights along the way. Now, whenever I go on a guided tour in another city, I always find it's a friendlier experience if I know a little something about the guide. So I want to share a little bit about myself and my connection to Ottawa before we get started, get to know each other a little bit. So I was born and raised in Ottawa, and one of my favorite things is music. I'm a music lover, I'm a musician, and I owe a great deal of my musical training to the many music festivals that happen here in Ottawa every summer. Usually when you ask a musician, how did you get started? What was the initial inspiration? They'll tell you that someone in their family or a friend or someone at the local record store sort of opened their eyes to what was possible and really got them digging deeper into good music. For me, that was music festivals. So from the time I was a teenager, I would volunteer to earn my way in, and whenever I wasn't volunteering, I'd see as much as I could. To this day, it's still one of my favorite parts of summer in the city. Now, getting on to the more Ottawa-specific introduction, I think it's important to start by remarking how amazing it is that we're even here today. Because in its earliest days, Ottawa was not an obvious choice to be capital of Canada, or really capital of anything. When it was named the capital of Canada back in 1857, it was nothing more than a rough and tough lumber town. Its main claim to fame was a reputation as the most dangerous city in North America. One newspaper reacted to the decision, saying that this subarctic timber village had been transformed by royal mandate into a political cockpit. So quite a bit has changed since then, and the decision going back was made by a young Queen Victoria. Her choice was so shocking to people that some people said she based her decision on a game of pin the tail on the donkey. Just closed her eyes and picked a spot on the map. The truth is, though, Ottawa had some strategic advantages, still does to this day. It was centrally located in what was Canada at that time. It was in a position that would be easy to defend if there was an attack by the Americans, perhaps. And there was a good mix of both English and French-speaking residents in the village. And so, with that one decision, Queen Victoria changed all of our fates. And Ottawa, from those tough beginnings, has grown into a beautiful capital city that now attracts thousands of visitors every year. I'm looking forward to sharing with you how much we've accomplished since that fateful day.
So it's a big group actually. Ilan ba tayo, Julie?
46?
46 in the bus. So we're here in Ottawa right now. First, we go to the Parliament. There. House of Commons.
Here, and sort of to respect that you're here, I don't want to keep you waiting, so I'll give you a little bit of background about Parliament Hill. So Parliament Hill really features three main buildings. We have, of course, the center block right there in the middle. So in usual times, that's where you find the House of Commons and the Senate. And so the House of Commons would be on one side and the Senate would be on the other. But that, of course, is under construction right now, so it's entirely closed, and it's going to be closed for the next 10 years. Oh! There's some very serious work that has to be
10
done.
years?
What'd you say, 10 years?
10 years.
It's a severe damage, which means
Well, it's just a very old building, so
that's why it takes 10 years.
No, I
Yes.
I didn't mean boy could do it quicker than that and probably cheaper.
They have asbestos in there, they have things falling apart, so lots of work. So you might wonder, okay, so then where's the House of Commons doing their business? Well, they worked on the West Block over here first. So they would have a place to put the House of Commons. When they started sandblasting the stones to get the black stain off of it, some of the mortar in between the stones was so fragile that the walls just fell right down.
Oh.
So most of that building was rebuilt brick by brick.
Oh my.
Now our tax money.
That's right. We all helped pay for that. So now you get to see where that money has gone. And the Senate, in the meantime, has moved across the street to Ottawa's old train station, which you can just kind of see from here. It's the building with the 12 columns right underneath the Westin.
Oh.
That's the home of the Senate for now. But this is not the first time Parliament Hill has undergone a major reconstruction project. In February of 1916, there was a terrible fire that destroyed almost all of the center block. The parliamentary librarian, though,
Oh, really?
it's
They
because
change
the
every
winds
single
up there are
weekday,
so
the
strong
flag?
that it wears out the flags very quick. I'm
Oh.
not so sure if that's the truth, but anyway.
That's what they say. They said that the flag changed every
Quite the
week.
job.
Yeah, so some people say, where do all these used flags end up? Are they in a pile somewhere? Well, it seems they're actually pretty popular. Any of us can order one of the flags that's flown over the Peace Tower. There is a bit of a wait though. If we all ordered one today, it would take over 100 years to land on our doorstep.
Serious. Holy Nelly.
Nonetheless, it could be a pretty good gift for a grandkid or a great-grandkid, so may as well put the order in. And then I mentioned 3 buildings, so the third one is the east block over there. So we see that the stones look quite different from the west block.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are actually the results of the deconstruction.
Mm,
Any
no.
rock structure here for about 100 years, and it all black like that. But some people think it's got sort of a classic weather to it. In any case, yeah, so I think we'll probably take a place there.
Di ba ang ganda? Salita. Okay. So anong masasabi mo sa pinuntahan natin na first time mo?
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Actually, this is my second time. The last time that I came here was 2015. And then the second time with Miss Julie.
Saan na sila?
Akala ko, let's go, let's go.
Kailangan tayong bumalik sa bus eh.
The building was designed by Canadian architect Raymond Moriyama. Now, Moriyama's interest in building and design started very young. His first project was building a tree house when he was 12. But unlike other children building tree houses, he built his in an internment camp in the Second World War. Now, internment camps were a dark period in Canadian history where the federal government rounded up everybody that was originally from the countries that Canada was at war with. They were imprisoned. So to the Indigenous peoples who first inhabited this area, they called the river the Gitchisibi. We have since anglicized the name to the Kitchissippi, but that meaning is the same. So the Great River. Today we know it as the Ottawa River, probably a lot more familiar to all of us. And truly, this is one of Canada's great rivers. It travels 1,200 kilometers all the way from northern Ontario to Montreal, where it flows into the St. Lawrence River. Now, for thousands of years, that has been a very important trade route. The Ottawa First Nations would travel along that river to trade with the Algonquins, who were more in this area. And Ottawa itself is the Anishinaabe-Moan, or the indigenous name for to trade. So, at one point, the river was named the Ottawa River. And when it came time to rename the rough and tumble timber village of Bytown, they looked to the river and said, Ottawa, Ottawa. And that's where we get the city of Ottawa. Just on the right with those stone buildings, that's Victoria Island. Indigenous people have met on Victoria Island also for thousands of years. To the left, the Chaudière Falls, which are also a sacred Indigenous site. And now now that we're on the other side of the bridge, we find ourselves in the city of Gatineau in the province of Quebec. So bienvenue everyone. And the first thing you notice is there certainly seem to be a lot of government buildings, or office towers rather. And these indeed are federal government buildings, because Ottawa might be one of the public servants in normal times would be filling up all the bridges to get to work every morning and afternoon here.
Canadian Museum of History, Gatineau, Quebec. We are here at the lobby right now, and down there are all the stuff or things, a history of Canada, because this is a Canadian Museum of History. We are not allowed to go down there because we don't have pass and we don't have enough time to stay here. And last time I went there actually, and it's so cool. And that one is new. There's so water, I think. All right. Here, outside here, at the other side of the bridge is the Parliament, Ottawa, Ontario. Where I am right now, the Canadian Museum of History belongs to Gatineau, Quebec. So the border is just the bridge, the Ottawa River, Ontario and Quebec.
As in.
Oh yeah, it's there. So this building was designed by an architect, a Métis architect named Douglas Cardinal. So Métis means that he had some European ancestry and some indigenous ancestry from the Red River settlement in Manitoba. And he wanted to design this building with a lot of the curves and the features of the Canadian landscape. So if you see all these wavy shapes, those are supposed to symbolize the ocean waves on the maritime provinces.
Okay, now I know.
Eastern side of the complex. And then you see all the layers, some of them come out further than the others. Those are supposed to represent the layers of the Canadian Shield, so all the different layers of bedrock. So when the glacier receded during the last ice age, it left all these different layers of the Canadian Shield. And then if you look on this side, it's supposed to represent the Rocky Mountains, as the highest geographical
Rocky
point of
Mountains.
Canada. And they say that if you look just here to the entrance, it's the shape of a turtle. So the windows up higher, the eyes, the doors of the mouth. Do you see it?
Oh, the
It looks like a
Canadian
turtle.
Museum is like a turtle look.
And so Douglas Cardinal also designed this from an indigenous perspective. If you think this view is great, we already know that the view from the river is great. Because the indigenous people
Turtle.
lie down.
Ah.
So when you're canoeing, like the indigenous tradition is if you're seeing another canoeist coming, you put your paddle upside down in the air to say, I come in peace. We're all friendly here. So that's the building's way of greeting the visitors. Yes.
Come in peace.
An oldest church in all of Ottawa. It also stands on the ground of Ottawa's first Catholic church, and that was open to both English and speaking residents in Bytown, which was Ottawa's original name. The church was built during the lumber boom, so the entire inside is made out of wood. Now, one thing that people notice right away is that there's large columns, and they're painted so they look just like marble. But when you knock on it, sure enough, they are also made of wood. The ceiling rather is painted a deep dark blue, kind of like the ceiling here, to look like the night sky. And then there's gold leaf stars dotting it, so it really does have that gorgeous night sky effect. If you had heard about the big celebrations for Canada 150 in 2017.
So that's a bit of the history of Ottawa, the capital of Canada. Thank you for watching and have a good day.